Hello, everyone. Are you having a good time? Yeah, it's a very nice event. All right, when I was little, I was a very good boy. Polite, good grades, spelling bee semi-finalist. But when I was 11 and in 6th grade, what I wanted more than anything was to be cool. We were on spring break, and my family was visiting relatives in Hammond, Indiana. Every night, my brother Dave, my cousins Ed and Jim and me would have sleepovers at somebody's house. This night we were at my Aunt Jean's house. We all slept in blankets on the floor in the living room, except my brother Dave, who always got the couch. In the middle of the night, Ed and I wanted to do something fun. So we crept down to the basement, turned on the TV, and watched the old Paul Newman movie, Somebody Up There Likes Me, with the volume turned way down low. It was kind of fun, but we wanted to do something more daring. So we decided we were going to sneak out of the house and go to Dunkin' Donuts, which was open all night and just a few blocks away. We had to figure out some excuse for why 2 grade school boys would be out in the middle of the night. So we looked around the basement. We saw our cousin Steve's hockey sticks. So we decided we would pretend that we were on our way back from a hockey game. Perfect. So we went upstairs to see if Dave and Jim wanted to come along. Dave sleepily and reluctantly agreed. Jim was smart though. He slept through the whole thing. We changed out of our jammies into our daytime clothes, went downstairs to get the hockey sticks, slipped out the back door, careful not to let the screen doors slam, and into the night. We crept along Magoon Avenue, through the alleys, to the Dunkin' Donuts on Indianapolis Boulevard. We went in, and trying not to act too excited, hopped up on the pink vinyl stools. The waitress looked at us, looked at the hockey sticks, looked at the silver Dunkin' Donuts clock on the wall that said 2 o'clock, and asked us, "What do you want?" We ordered donuts. And I ordered coffee. And I liked coffee, but that seemed a very adult thing to do. Then we went into our act. "So, that was some hockey game, huh?" I said in my toughest 6th grade voice. "Yeah, sure was," Ed said. Dave didn't say much of anything. He wasn't crazy about being there in the first place. So we finished our donuts, paid, hopped off our stools, and went back out into the alleys. On the walk home, we noticed that a lot of the cars were dirty. Ed said, "Let's write dirty words on the cars." Ha ha! I was in 6th grade, the king of the hill of the elementary school world. I knew all the good bad words. So I started to write shit and fucker on the windshield. I saw Ed writing, I saw Dave using his finger to write obscenities on a couple cars. About a block down, I noticed the tame words Ed was writing. Honky, stupid, wash me. "Hey Ed, those aren't dirty words," I called. But he wouldn't write anything cruder. Heck, I didn't care what I wrote. 6th grade was my rebellious year. I cussed a little bit with my friends. I wore jeans, sneakers, wacky package t-shirts. I was friends with a couple of bad boys. Anyway, we got back to Aunt Jean's, changed back into our jammies, jumped in the blankets, and we were safe on the living room floor. Then Ed had another idea. "Let's go back out." So, we changed back into our clothes and crept back out. We were talking in an alleyway when we saw a police car come by. Dave ran as fast as he could back to Aunt Jean's and looked for a place to hide. I waved. I always waved to police officers. I thought they liked when kids waved at them. The car pulled up and stopped, red lights flashing. The cop got out, found Ed, and started frisking him. I was scared. When he walked toward me to frisk me, I took my wallet out and said, "This is all I've got." I was really glad we had left the hockey sticks back this time. He ordered us to get in the back of the car. It was one of those with a metal grill between him and us. And he told us he was taking us downtown. Mortified, I begged, please don't. Our Aunt Jean lives just a couple blocks from here. He let us go to Aunt Jean's house. I kept talking and he told me to shut up. We pulled up in front of the house, lights still flashing. He got out his flashlight and shined it in Aunt Jean's windows, which I wish he hadn't done. He wanted to wake her up, and of course he did. He led Ed and me up the stairs and banged on the front door. There was Aunt Jean in the living room, with Dave and Jim and my cousin Steve in their pajamas. The cop yelled out the story of how the Dunkin' Donuts waitress had called to report that there were 3 young hoodlums playing in the alleys, armed with hockey sticks. He said she saw us playing in back of the big wheel. Oh, we didn't go in back of the big wheel, I interrupted. Shut up! He barked. He didn't need to yell, I thought. My stomach was in a tight knot, and my legs were shaking. Finally, he was done with his scolding, got back in the car and pulled out, lights still flashing. And then Ed and I were left standing in the living room facing our Aunt Jean, who was about the nicest person we knew, which made it even more embarrassing. She didn't yell. She just told us how disappointed she was in us, and how shocked she was to wake up to flashing lights and Dave's frightened voice telling her that Ed and Doug might be arrested. She told us she would have never expected that kind of behavior from us. I felt small. I felt like crying. I felt young. I asked if I could sleep at her bed that night. More than anything, I didn't want Aunt Jean to hate me. That Sunday was Easter. So we had a big family dinner, and from the kids' table in the kitchen, I could hear Steve having a field day telling the story. I was asleep, and then suddenly there were these lights, and somebody knocking on the door. Then this cop comes in, and he brings Ed and Doug. I could just tell how embarrassed my mother must be. And truly, she would probably be embarrassed to know that I'm telling you this story right now. My night as a toughie is not something we talk about. Now, looking back all these years, sneaking out of the house was the most daring thing I'd ever done. And getting picked up by the police, no question, the most shocking thing that ever happened to me. Still, here I am. I've raised a couple kids of my own. I'm a college professor. Part of me is still that 11-year-old boy in sneakers, wondering what's out there in the night.